Hello, y'all. I want to give y'all a brief idea of my black nationalist philosophy. Now, when you hear those words, usually people think of an ethno-state and say, I'm against separatism. And they never looked up black nationalism. And they claim they're interested to learn about it, but if you want to learn about it, you can Google it. You can go on YouTube and learn about it. You're not really interested. But when I say that I'm a black nationalist, I want us to have our own sovereignty. I want us to control our own destiny. So that doesn't have to be in the form of an ethno-state. It could be in the form of us owning our own businesses. It could be in the form of us owning our own organizations and us deciding and being the leaders of our own movements. So imagine a small town in California. Black people control the city council. Black people own the businesses there. Black people basically control the school board and whatnot, right? White people can literally drive in neighborhoods, probably get gas, probably eat at the restaurants and whatnot, and it'll be all fine. Why? Because black people are finally, getting the fruits of their own work and their own labor. Because what happens in white supremacy, we always get exploited. So white people talking about separatism and whatnot, what's going to stop you from driving in our neighborhoods? Are we going to gun you down if you drive in here? No. But you know what happened in history, in U.S. history? Black people go into white neighborhoods and getting lynched. So when people complain about this separatism or this segregation stuff, white people literally have the institutional power. They always have used that institutional power to segregate. It's ridiculous. But like I said, imagine that small community. Imagine that situation where we own our own community. But yeah, we can literally own our own community. And that's a form of us trying to gain our own sovereignty. We're putting the power in our hands for once, for us to determine our own destiny. More of a socialist, what I personally want is for black people to collectively own the means of production, at least in this situation. And I want things to be democratically ran and done, and for everything to start from the bottom up. So this is how my black nationalist philosophy combines with my socialist philosophy. Not all black nationalists think the same. There's different variants, there's different versions of it. But personally, what I want is for us as black people to collectively own the means of production, and for us to build our wealth and ourselves up, for us to give ourselves employment, give ourselves opportunity that cannot happen under a white supremacist structure. And personally, what I want is for this system of white supremacy to die, and for us as black people to be able to live as who we are. It's as Malcolm X said, we can't sit at the same table if we don't have our shit together. I agree with Malcolm X's philosophy. We should own the politicians of our own community. We should own the politics of our own community. The politics of our own community should be dictated by the community itself. So that's personally where I am at, and I think that black people should have that right to determine how they want to run their own communities for the betterment of themselves. We understand that if we build ourselves up, we can liberate ourselves from this system. Because without the tools, without the resources, it's going to be extremely difficult to fight the powers that are supreme right now. I want to bring up Planet Namek. I tweeted on Twitter today about Planet Namek, about how in Dragon Ball Z, Planet Namek was just a planet where the Namekians lived in peace. They had all these villages, and each village had a Dragon Ball, right? They were just living in peace. They ain't bother nobody. They was just doing them and whatnot. Then Frieza comes down there because Frieza wants to use the Dragon Balls to get immortality and starts killing and slaughtering each Namekian, village to village, to take their Dragon Balls. And probably to sell the planet to somebody after they wipe out the life on that planet. And I want people to understand how Frieza is a euphemism for imperialists, how the Namekians and the planet itself is the country that currently exists in this world that is being exploited for its resources. We're not bothering nobody. We just want peace, sovereignty, and self-determination. Let me just end this racist explanation of my philosophy because it's extremely anti-white and it's advocating for ethno-states and it's black separatism. Like, it's all of that right now. It's all of that right now because white people just are too uncomfortable with these new ideas never heard before. They can't Google it. But let me just end my racist, anti-white rant by just saying black is beautiful, black power, and we should have that right to live as who we are and embrace who we are as black people. Because black is beautiful and melanin is a beautiful fucking thing that we have in us.
my personal political philosophy, black nationalism, which means that the black man should control the politics of his own community and control the politicians who are in his own community. My personal economic philosophy is also black nationalism, which means that the black man should have a hand in controlling the economy of the so-called Negro community. He should be developing the type of knowledge that will enable him to own and operate the businesses and thereby be able to create employment for his own people, for his own kind. And the social philosophy also is black nationalism, which means that instead of the black man trying to force himself into the society of the white man, we should be trying to eliminate from our own society the ills and the defects and make ourselves likable and sociable among our own kind.
Well, you seem to be dissatisfied with everything. Just what do you want?
I'm not dissatisfied with everything. What you are able to see with your analytical mind is that everything that is offered doesn't produce what it's supposed to produce. And I'm just telling you that it doesn't produce what it's supposed to produce.
Well, what is your ultimate aim?
The only way the problem can be solved. First, the white man and the black man have to be able to sit down at the same table. The white man has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of that Negro. And the so-called Negro has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of the white man. Then they can bring the issues that are under the rug out on top of the table and take an intelligent approach to get the problem solved. That's the only way that they'll ever do it. In the areas of the country where the government has proven itself unable or unwilling to defend the Negroes when they are being brutally and unjustly attacked, then the Negroes themselves should take whatever steps necessary to defend themselves. And one of the best methods by which this can be done is to establish rifle clubs. It's legal in this country to own a rifle. This doesn't mean that the Negro is going to initiate some kind of aggressive action against anybody, but it does mean that the Negro will be serving notice that no longer does he believe in turning the other cheek and being the constant victim of someone else's brutality.
Do you consider yourself militant?
I consider myself Malcolm.